Welcome back. He's an accomplished actor, director, and producer. And if that wasn't enough, he's now adding author to the list.
Here to talk about his new memoir, please welcome the one, the only, Jason Priestley.
Hi, guys.
Okay, so I'm just going to ask you right off the top. Years ago, when you first started directing, I came in, I auditioned for you, I did not get the part.
That's right, that's where I know you from.
We talked about this backstage. I said I told him I was going to tease him. I'm teasing you.
That's right.
I'm teasing you. I'm sure I didn't get it because I didn't know what I was doing.
I love it. Had you just fallen off the turnip truck and just gotten to Hollywood and you got the call?
I had a super thick accent. Not like it's not now, but I had a super thick accent. And I'm pretty sure I might have worn jean shorts to the
Was you reading for a doctor? It was one of those?
I don't even remember what it was.
Wow.
But it was just so funny because I remember I was like, I can ask him. I can get feedback now. Actors never get feedback. It's what we want.
There you go. Put him on the spot, why don't you, Emily?
You know what's funny, and you know, spending so much time on the other side of the casting table, which I do now. You know, it's so much of it is out of the actor's hands. You know, there's so, you know, once you get to a certain level and once you get to your second or third or fourth callback, it all becomes about, well, these two look good as a couple, or these can all work as a family, and you know, these guys are all the same height, so they won't look funny on camera together. Like, it really becomes less.
This one doesn't have a gigantic Southern accent.
Right, exactly. All these people accents all sound the same. This one sounds funny. You know, it really becomes, you know, once you get down to the final 3, 4, 5 people for every role, any one of those actors could actually play that role, and it becomes less about the actual actor himself and how it would all work as a whole. As a whole piece of the
well,
thank you. Well, because that's what you do. That's why all actors have headshots. Because when you're as a director, as a producer, you put all the headshots on the table and you start matching people up and you start creating little, you know, a family or a couple or, you know, brother and sister or whatever it is. You start doing that.
Now you're sharing some of those experiences in the book.
Yeah.
You know, this book has the kind of information we all want to know. I mean, you dish on bratty behavior from your co-stars and friends' affairs, and a lot of celebrities don't reveal this much. What made you decide to divulge this much, and are you afraid of backlash?
Well, I'm not really afraid of any backlash. I mean, you know, look, you know, part of the book is about behind the scenes in Hollywood, because that's, you know, I think people do. I think they want to know kind of what it's like in Hollywood. You know, it's kind of a glimpse behind the curtain in Hollywood. But because that's been part of my life. You know, I've lived a lot of my life in Hollywood. But really, the book is about, you know, my drive and my ambition that took me to Hollywood and made me successful in Hollywood. But then it also took me in my racing career and made me a successful professional race car driver. But then I had my huge accident in 2002, and then it's how I repurposed that drive and ambition to rebuild my life and rebuild my career, and got me back to the place where I am today.
You wrote about moving to LA when you were 17, and you were in a room or renting a place, and there was somebody who you were described as the nicest Midwestern guy imaginable who you lived with, and we know him better as Brad Pitt.
Yes. Yes.
So, what a good-looking household.
What was Brad Pitt like? And is it true that you guys used to have a competition where you'd go, who would go the longest without showering?
Well, yes. Well, you know, Brad and I were roommates there were 3 of us actually living in that apartment. It was me and Brad and another guy named Bernie Colson. And we weren't roommates for that long, but we traveled, and we were a group of us. We were all friends for a long time. But all of us used to have that competition. You know, this was in the days before cell phones and computers and video games, and we had to come up with ways to entertain ourselves. And one of the ways we would do that is we would have this competition to see who could go the longest without showering. And whoever won money. There was always money on it.
Is that why Brad has so much money?
That's why Brad has so much money, yes. That and a couple other things, you know. 15 or 20 very successful movies. We'll do that for you as well.
Jason, you spent 9 years playing heartthrob Brandon Walsh on the huge hit series, and thank you for that, Beverly Hills 90210. Now, you write in your memoir that you didn't enjoy those days, those 90210 days, as much as you should have.
Yes.
Why is that?
Well, I was just always thinking about the fact that, the candle that burns twice as bright only burns for half as long, and I was terrified that the show, because it was so popular, was gonna flame out, and so I was always concerned about that, and I was always worried about the future and whether I was gonna have a future after the show was done. So I was so worried about that I didn't take the time to really enjoy what was happening in the moment, and I sort of look back on those days, and I think, God, what was I doing? Like I should have just really enjoyed it much more in the moment while it was going on, and so I've really just enjoyed my life much more since then, and really been conscious of taking the time to smell the roses a lot more.
During that time, Shannon Doherty, who played your twin sister, made headlines for her diva behavior, and you write that she really and truly did not care. I'm going to quote you here. She would do or say anything which was a very cool attitude until it wasn't. At what point was it not cool anymore?
Well, I think everybody has a friend like that who just really, says whatever's on their mind and doesn't care. And
that's my friend. That's my friend like that. Right there.
Shannon was young and she didn't know where that line was. And it's cool, you can push it right up to the line, but I don't think Shannon really knew where the line was. And she would go over the line, and that's when it became, then everyone would be like, oh, Jesus. Well, everyone would just kind of move away from me. I'm gonna sit over here now, right?
Speaking of the 90210 cast, in the book, you write that combinations of cast members slept together over the years.
Come on, is that really a big surprise?
Can we just, remember when you were doing that thing with the faces? Remember when you were doing that thing with the faces? Can you match faces for us? Can we match faces for us? The audience is like, come on.
If we had a bunch of headshots on the table, I could do it for you, but come on, gentleman never tells.
Okay, but there was trailer hopping.
That would get me in trouble.
Okay.
All right.
Then I'd be getting phone calls.
Okay, so speaking of 90210 and pairings, there was always a big rivalry. There were two camps. There was Team Brandon and Team Dylan, played by yourself and your good friend Luke Perry. Were you always close with Luke, or did it get competitive between the two of you?
Yeah, no, Luke and I have always been great friends, and we've had a great long relationship. Not in that way, but
I was going to say we've got headshots.
But a great friendship, the two of us, and I feel very fortunate to have gotten to share that whole experience with him on the show, and we've been lifelong friends ever since.
So, Jason, thank you so much for being here.
But that's it.
You're going to come back again. Here you are. Make sure you pick up a copy of Jason Priestley, a memoir. It's in stores now. And for even more Jason, don't miss Spun Out tonight at 8 p.m. on CTV, because he'll be making a special appearance. Don't go anywhere.